So cold outreach is starting to feel like putting your dick in a pencil sharpener and maybe waiting for it to turn on. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you mince your cock. Who knows, right? That's what cold outreach probably feels like. You're probably sending hundreds of DMs a day, thousands of DMs a day. Maybe you're trying mass DM bots. Maybe you're outreaching on models pages. Maybe you're outreaching on agency pages. Maybe you're outreaching on your personal brand. But nothing seems to be working. If you do get replies, it's probably a model calling you a cuck or probably an agency laughing at you, right? So how do we fix that? Is cold outreach still viable? Does cold outreach work? Yeah, it does. But you've got to follow a specific framework. Now, I made a video a couple of weeks ago on cold outreach where I covered the 3-step conversational flow. But today I want to go more in depth. I want to give you the secret. I want to give you the secret sauce, the keys. I want to give you that special sauce, right? That unvaccinated sperm level secret sauce, right? That was weird. So this is what we're going to do, right? We're going to cover how to book 250 meetings per month from cold outreach. Now, are you going to go away from this video and book 250 meetings a month? Probably not if you're on your own. If you've got a team of growth specialists, 5-10 growth specialists outreaching for you, highly possible. If you have 5 to 10 optimized profiles, highly possible. We've done it. You can do it too. But even if you can just book, I bet for some of you, even if you can book 30 meetings a month or 20 meetings a month would be game changing. So let's show you how to do that, right? Because no one's telling you how to do this shit. No one gives you a full-on breakdown. This is going to be a long video, but I'm going to break it down. You see this board? And I'm going to break it down, right? So let's just go. I've got some notes on my laptop as well, just so I don't miss anything. But booking meetings on Instagram through Messenger isn't hard when you know your market segment that you're going after and you know their pain points and you know their inefficiencies, right? And so if you don't know anything about your ideal client, if you don't know anything about your model, if you don't know the pains they're dealing with, the inefficiencies they're coming up with, then outreach is going to be difficult. But if you know that, it can be easy, right? And so we're going to use this framework to not only figure that out, but to be able to actually convert them, get them on a call, right? Now, this is called the 3-step conversational flow, and it's the best outreach method by a mile that you've ever seen, and no one else has given you this much sauce on YouTube for free, right? But in order to make this process work, you will need to know the inefficiencies that your market is dealing with, how to create social context and familiarity, how to bring out inefficiencies in a conversation, educating to create curiosity and create an authority/trust, and number 4, offering a value call, right? So in order to make this process work, in order to be able to even book 250 meetings a month, you need to know the inefficiencies your market is dealing with overall, and then based on those inefficiencies, you need to know how to create social context and familiarity, how to bring out those inefficiencies in a conversation. You need to know how to educate the prospect to create curiosity and to also build our authority and trust around you. And then you need to know how to not sell the service, but sell the call, offer a value call, right? Now, we do a lot of 2-call closes, so we don't just go for a sales call and close on the call. We do 2-call closes, value call, and then the sales call. Sometimes, if we feel like it, we'll close them on 1 call, but that's because our sales guy is super advanced and that's easy for him to do. The easiest way to do it at any skill level is to go for a 2-call close, but if you feel confident and it's vibing on the first call, just close them on the first call, right? That's obviously easier, but 2-call close works really well. Now, let me have a look at my notes. Before we start any of this, right? I'm just going to grab my laptop so it's easier. But before we start any of this, we need to know what inefficiencies are, right? So what are inefficiencies, right? Now, inefficiencies can be outdated systems and processes that your market is leveraging to attain its main goal, right? Inefficiencies is something that's keeping them from attaining that goal. Inefficiencies can be knowledge gaps that your market has, and inefficiencies can be anything that you know is standing in the way of your prospects and their desired goal and state, right? So before you start any form of outreach, especially on Instagram Messenger, you need to have a list of inefficiencies to look for in a conversation, right? And so you need to get that messenger conversation flow down, right? So the way to look at this is what is standing in the way of your prospects and their desired goal or state, right? So if you're an OnlyFans model, what are the inefficiencies you'd be dealing with? What is standing in the way of you getting to your goal? Whether that goal is 10K a month, 50K a month, it doesn't matter. What is that what is standing in the way? Now, this is why it's so important to know the market segment that you're going after, and why you don't want to just be maybe 1 month sign a model that's making 60K a month, the next month sign one that's starting from new, and then the next month do one that's making 10K, and then 5K, and then another 20. You're all over the shop. They're all different market segments, all dealing with different problems. Have an ideal client, have a client avatar, and go after that specific market segment only. If you want to go after university girls aged 18 to 24 that are making less than 10 grand a month, go after that market segment. If you want to go after celebrities and launch their OnlyFans, maybe they don't have an OnlyFans yet, but they want to do launches, go and do that. If you want to go and work with girls that are already making 50K a month, go do that, right? It's up to you. If you want to start girls from zero, do that. It doesn't matter. You can make money in all market segments, but just know the market segment you're going after. The market segment we like to go after is models making less than 10K a month, right? And so we know, based on that, all the inefficiencies that those models are dealing with, all the problems that get in their way of their desired goal, we know what they are, right? So for an example, if a model is making 4K a month, then she's gonna have problems like traffic, probably, right? She can't seem to scale traffic. It depends on how long she's been at 4K a month, but traffic's obviously gonna be an issue. Chatting's obviously gonna be an issue. Funnel, content optimization, welcome messages, bio, offer on the page, subscription price. Like, there's so many inefficiencies that she could potentially be dealing with. We need to know those, right? So that's the first thing you need to do. You need to come up with your ideal client, know exactly the market segment you're going after, and then craft and find out all the inefficiencies that that market segment's dealing with, right? And so that's the first thing you want to do. And you should have a minimum of 4 inefficiencies that you can find in a conversation with a prospect. And these need to be painful obstacles. So something that's painful that they need to overcome if they actually want to get to their desired goal and state, right? So the first thing we've got is creating social context and familiarity, right? Now, these are the steps. These are the 4 steps. It's called the 3-step conversational flow. I don't know why I called it that, but it's actually realistically a 4-step conversational flow. The reason I don't like to say 4 steps doesn't sound that nice. 3 steps sound easier. When people think, oh, it's only 3-step process, it's better than a 4-step process, so I've just named it a 3-step process. In reality, it's 4. But for the title of this video, it's going to be called a 3-step, right? So, the number 1 goal with outreach is obviously to get responses, right? And so if you don't get the prospects responding to your first message, then how can you even expect to convert them on a call, right? If they don't respond to your first message, how can you expect to even get them on a call and convert them, right? It can't happen. So how do you make sure that you have the highest response when doing outreach? Well, you simply have to make sure that the prospect's in the right state of mind, right? So the right level of the brain that can accept that information that you're trying to communicate. So what does that mean? Well, there's 3 levels of the brain, right? We have the reptilian side of the brain, which is also known as the amygdala. We have the limbic brain, and we have the neocortex, right? Those are the 3 levels of the brain. Now, the amygdala, aka the reptilian part of our brain, is instinctual and has the sole purpose to keep you away from danger. It's pain fleeing, right? And so that's why, negative hooks in content work so well, because it hits that amygdala, right? Then we have the limbic part of the brain, which is the emotional and feeling part, which is the driver of a lot of our behavior, right? But then we have the neocortex, which is the thinking / rational logic part of our brain, right? And now when you're doing outreach, the reason you want to create social context and familiarity is because you want to get the prospects out of the reptilian brain or out of the limbic brain and into their neocortex, right? So you want them to use their neocortex when converting with you. And if they're stuck in their reptilian brain or limbic brain, you're not going to be able to get through to them, right? They're not going to listen. They're going to be emotional, right? And obviously with models, they are more emotional. Like females are more emotional biologically, right? So you need to get them into their neocortex, which is why it's so important to create social context and familiarity, right? So the process to actually create that social context and familiarity, no one's going this in deep on outreach. I'm giving you a fucking psychology lesson talking about the brain levels. No one's doing this shit, right? So the process to create social context and familiarity, the first message you send, this is another issue. Everyone thinks mass DMs are going to work, or spamming, or just doing the same outreach message, or sending these big, long oh my God, please don't do that. If you're sending like big, long paragraphs explaining this is what our agency does, blah, 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 blah. If you're even trying to sell in that first message, you're a fucking idiot, right? You're an absolute idiot. You're just going to attract low quality talent. if any at all, where you're just going to have a bunch of models cursing you out, right? You are effectively sticking your dick in the pencil sharpener and just turning it on. There's no point, right? You're losing your dignity. Stop fucking sending long-ass messages saying how great your agency is and how you can get them to 100K a month. We're not selling our services when we're messaging. This is the issue everyone makes. They try and sell their services in their fucking opening message, or even after they've been conversing with them for 4 weeks, they're trying to sell their service. We're never selling our service in the DMs. Make note of this. Ingrain this in your brain. You are not selling the service. You're selling the call, right? You're offering a value call. That's all you're selling. You're not selling the fucking service in the DMs. That's the number one way to just get ignored, right? And also follow-up is key as well. Remember, fortune's in the follow-up, right? Which we'll cover. But the first message should mention something familiar to the prospect, and this can be taken from their profile or the understanding that you have about their market segment, about their niche, about their journey as an OnlyFans creator, right? And so, like, that's the key thing. Now, yeah, there's obviously tons of ways you can think about that. I'm not going to give you any opener examples purely because if I give you an opener example, every single person that watches this video is going to go and copy the same opener example and it's just going to fucking destroy everything. The models are just going to be like, this is the same outreach message. I'm not going to give specific examples of the outreach message. I'm just going to tell you how to craft them. So you need to come up, and I'll tell you what, I'll give you an example of if someone was outreaching me, how would they create social contacts, familiarity with me? Let's just say, let's just say an email copywriter was approaching my personal brand, right? Something they could say, hey Dylan, were you running a business before Melossom, right? It's creating social contacts and familiarity. They've done a little bit of research to figure out I run a business called Melossom. And they're asking me, was I running another business before Melossom? So I'm thinking, interesting, why is he asking that? Let me reply, right? But a couple of things. Engage with their content and leave a comment if you're not receiving many responses. That's a good one. And the most key part of all of this, it doesn't matter so much of what you message them. It's not in the specific wording, right? But a lot of it comes down to profile optimization. A lot of it does, like a lot. Like if I send 50 DMs a day on my account, I'll probably get 15 responses, which is pretty decent, right? 15 responses, maybe 20 responses on a good day. But that's because my profile is really good and it's optimized. Whereas if you're not, if you decide to skip the most important part, which is optimizing your page, it doesn't matter if you use this or not. You can still maybe get some results, don't get me wrong, but you're not going to get as many as you could. So that's the most important part of all this. If you take one thing away from this, because you got the brain of a fish and maybe you can't take in all this insane information I'm giving you, if you can just take one thing away to ingrain in your brain, profile optimization is the most key part. By far, not even close. Not even close, right? And I don't mean profile optimization on an agency page. Agency pages don't work. The only way an agency page works for outreach is if you're actually willing to show all the models you work with, and they're actually decent sized models. They're well known, they're pretty famous, and you're showing their results, and you're literally putting it all out there. I personally don't want to do that because we've done it with a model before where we've put her out there, we've run testimonial ads of her face and we've like really put her out there, put her results out there. And a bigger LA agency that realistically, just being completely honest, can offer more than us in terms of collaborations. Oh, we'll get you collabs with Sky Bree, Riley Reid, blah, 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 blah. She left our agency for them, right? Which is why personally I don't like to really put my models out there of who we work with, and also why all of our models sign NDAs with us, right? But if you want an agency page to work, that's really a good way to do it. If you're really secure and safe, and you got models in 2-year contracts and all this sort of shit, maybe you can do that route, right? But for people starting out, you're not going to have big models that you can even show off anyway. So an agency page is going to be irrelevant. Like, it's fucking irrelevant. If you haven't got big models you work with, then it's pointless. Like, good agency pages, like Blurresque, I think, have a decent one. Untouched have a decent one. So there's a couple, there's pros and cons to it, but I'd rather personally have personal brand or use our models pages, right? And you're pretty much like LARPing as a model. Is it LARPing? I think it's called LARPing, right? So yeah, profile optimization is a super important part of actually creating social context, like really important. And so make sure you have obviously nice pictures of yourself. Make sure you have some video content for the prospect to actually consume. You want like an authority post. you want like a value-based post, maybe a case study / testimonial post. You want some stuff that they can consume, right? And you also want to make sure that you got engagement on your profiles too, right? Because that just creates social proof and makes the prospect feel like they can trust you, since other people can trust you, right? So go and get articles. You can pay for articles. Like, it's all socially engineered. If you really want good articles, and this is some secret sauce, so listen up, go to a site called LinkedIn News and you can pay for articles. You can literally pay like $160 to be featured in 100+ different articles like Yahoo Finance, Business Insider, all these crazy things for like $100, and just get ChatGPT to write the article for you about your agency. Or take a different angle, right? Don't say you're an agency, say you're like a social media growth firm or something like that, right? Because again, that whole agency space is getting played out because people are just, you got a bunch of 18-year-old kids who watch Andrew Tate that think they can go and start an agency, right? Whereas 3 years ago, an agency was actually looked at as like, oh my God, an agency's reaching out to me. Yeah, I really want to work with you. So much easier. Now, agencies, dead, being killed by all these little Andrew Tate wannabes, right? So, and that's nothing against Tate. I'm just saying the people that copy him, right? So, that's how you're going to create social context and familiarity, right? Not just in the message you send, the first message, being like customized, but the profile itself, right? That's how you create social context and familiarity, right? Now, number 2, bring out inefficiencies in conversation. So you've created you've created social context and familiarity. Now you want to bring out inefficiencies in the conversation, right? How do you do that? Well, firstly, you need to actually know what the inefficiencies the market's dealing with is, right? We've already done that, right? You should have done that. And so, therefore, you ask questions around those inefficiencies, right? How are you currently going about getting traffic to your OnlyFans? How are you currently going about driving subs to your OnlyFans? How are you currently going about making more money and chatting? Wherever the inefficiencies are, right? How are you currently going about funneling people? Blah, 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 blah. All the inefficiencies, come up with questions around there, and you need to be able to bring those inefficiencies out in conversation. So you create social context and familiarity, build a little bit of rapport after you've done it, and then start bringing out inefficiencies in conversation, right? And you'll get better over time as you continue to do this, right? And you want to explain and the solution, right? So let's just say, for example, they are, I don't know, let's just say they're doing something weird for traffic. Like, let's just say that they're really grinding for traffic. Like they're doing like GGs or wherever, right? You could obviously, if that's an inefficiency you bring out, like they only know how to do GGs, you want to show them what's higher leverage, right? You like one input to get 10 outputs, right? So for example, okay, you're doing GGs, great, but you do know you could just create an organic content in this specific way. And that organic content, if it blows up and gets 10 million views, 20 million views, that one piece of content can go and sell people forever, right? Whereas GGs, you're constantly buying the next GG, constantly chasing, boom, 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 right? Whereas content's ultimately higher leverage, right? And so you can explain that, right? So bring out the inefficiencies in the conversation, right? I always recommend that you ask a minimum of 3 questions to get a clear picture of what the prospect's struggling with, in order for them to have enough information to use against the prospect when it comes to pitch the value call, right? So we're not selling our services, we're selling the call. So when it comes to pitching the call, you want to have brought up at least 3 inefficiencies to figure out what the most painful one is for them, so you can then leverage that and attach that value to the call, right? So if traffic is what they're dealing with as an inefficiency, and you feel like, and you've also figured out another 2, but you feel like traffic is the most painful one, that's where you're going to attach as the value on the call, right? Which we'll get into. I'll show you how to do that, right? So number 3, educate the prospect and create authority and curiosity, right? So before you try and educate or even pitch a call, you need to find a minimum of 2 painful inefficiencies. If you don't, the prospect won't see the need to jump on the call, right? The value of the call needs to compensate for the friction and energy they need to put in booking a call. Waiting for the call to show up for the... I'm reading this too fast, right? So before you try and educate or even pitch a call, you need to find a minimum of two painful inefficiencies. Those inefficiencies, again, traffic, chatting, right? And it could be specific ones in terms of traffic and chatting. That's obviously very broad, right? So let's just say, you find those 2 painful inefficiencies. It's definitely something they need to improve, and you obviously get them to agree that that's something they need to improve, right? Now, if you don't do that, the model isn't going to see they're not going to see the need to jump on a call with you, right? If you don't come up with the inefficiencies and you don't dig into those inefficiencies, when it comes to pitching the call, they're not going to see any need to want to jump on a call with you because you haven't figured anything out. You haven't solved their inefficiencies or explained that you can solve them, right? And so the value of the call needs to compensate for the friction and energy that it takes to jump on a call, right? They've got to click the booking link, they've got to put their email in, they've got to book the call, they've got to wait for the call, they've got to show up for the call, they might have to do their makeup before the call, wherever, right? It's a lot of friction to get on a call. So therefore the value needs to outweigh the friction, right? So you need to attach a reasonable amount of value to the call, which is why you need to find a minimum of 2 painful inefficiencies, right? And you need to educate them. You need to educate them around those inefficiencies, right? Remember, like I said, if chatting is an issue, blah, blah, blah. You explain you ask them a question about chatting. So how are you actually going about maximizing chatting, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm only chatting for 4 hours a day at the moment, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so have you ever considered doing this, and chatting for 24 hours a day and doing this, and this is the results you could see if you do that, blah, blah, blah. You're educating them around their inefficiencies, right? Oh, no, I've never considered that. Oh, my God, that's really a good idea. Boom, 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 right? You've educated them, right? So something else to think of when you're educating the prospect, creating authority and curiosity, right? How do you solve it, and why is it worth solving that way? So what's their inefficiency, right? Wherever their inefficiency is, how do you solve it, and why is it worth solving that way? That's what you're telling them. That's what you're explaining to them, right? And then also another good thing when you're educating the prospect, who have you helped solve it, and what outcome did they receive, right? So let's just go through this as an example. So firstly, how do you solve it? Why is it worth solving, right? So you found a minimum of 2 painful inefficiencies. How do you solve it? Why is it worth solving this way? We solve it doing X, Y, Z, and it's worth solving because X, Y, Z, right? Wherever it is, depends on the inefficiency. Who have you helped solve it, and what outcome did they receive? And we actually helped this model solve it. And the reason it's worth solving that way is because we actually took it from struggling doing 5K to 20K, right? But wherever, right? However you want to do that. Then question the prospect after you've done that, after you've educated them around that, question the model or question the prospect if they've ever heard of this process or thought of using it themselves, right? So we helped to solve it this way, blah, 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 blah. This is how we solve it. This is why it's worth solving. Have you ever considered that? Have you ever thought of doing it that way, right? You're questioning them on it, right? And so let's just say, again, I don't want to give specific messages because people are just going to copy where I say word for word. So I'm trying to think of another scenario. Let's just say, what scenario can we use? Let's just say I'm coaching agencies and I want to sell someone on my program, right? An example could be for this framework, right? So 2 painful inefficiencies, how do you solve it, why is it worth solving, who have you helped solve it, and what outcome did they receive, and then questioning the prospect if they have a year to this process. If we put that all together in the sense of I'm selling agencies, it would be something like, we normally leverage highly trained $3 hour VAs to book 5 to 10 meetings per day, and we've recently helped a client leverage a VA to generate an extra $20,000 a month while paying $500 a month for the VA. Have you ever thought about leveraging highly trained $3 hour VAs before? That's putting it all together, right? So you can go and figure out, reverse engineer what I just said for the model space, right? Again, I don't want to give specific examples in the agency space because people will just copy what I say word for word and everyone will start using it and it's just going to become fucking cancerous, right? So let's not do that, right? So that's number 3. Educate the prospect, create authority and curiosity. Number 4, the last step, right? Even though it's the 3 step. The 4th step, offering a value call, right? So depending on the prospect's reply, you should establish if the point you have just shared made them curious enough to make sense of jumping on a call with you to learn more. If they're not too interested, simply jump to another inefficiency and educate them again. Try to find the thing that makes them curious. Most of the time, it will come from the biggest obstacle the niche faces. Traffic, chatting, a bunch of others, right? But they're probably the biggest. Once they seem interested and engaged, simply make the following offer. Again, I don't want to give example frameworks because everyone's just going to rip it. But you're pretty much just pitching, at that point, you're just pitching the call. You know, like, would you be free to jump on a quick call? Would you be free to jump on a quick call where I'll walk you through the stuff you just talked about, right? Again, I'm not going to give specifics because everyone will just rip it and everyone will sound the same. And then once they agree, you don't send them the booking link until they agree. If they say, yeah, like it makes sense to jump on a call because I want to learn more about what you've educated me on, then you send the booking link, and then you just get them to book. Pretty simple, right? And then you just, send them the link, get them to book. And then if they don't book, if they leave you on red at that point, follow up with them 30 minutes after, right? Just ask them a follow-up question, could they find a time that worked, right? If they still don't reply, again, remember, the fortune's in the follow-up. So you're going to follow up 30 minutes after if they've left you on red and they haven't booked, because that can happen, and it's fine. Don't worry. If you've got that far and they haven't booked, it's fine. Don't worry, right? If after 30 minutes they still haven't replied or they've left you on red again, then you want to follow up again 24 hours after. If they still haven't replied, follow up again 48 hours after, right? You've got to be ruthless in the follow-up game. So, you send them the booking link, they ignore you or they don't reply or they don't book. Okay, that's fine. 30 minutes later, follow up again. Still don't reply, 24 hours later, follow up again. Still don't reply, 48 hours, follow up again, right? And so that's what you want to do. Now, once the call is booked, right? You want to send them an intro video to you and your solution by email. I showed you how to do this on one of my most recent videos. It's a Calendly video. I show you the Calendly and booking process. It's way more professional if you can do it. If you don't have any current models, you're brand new, then don't worry about this process. It's not that deep. Like, this part's not the crucial part, but it helps if you do have case studies and stuff, right? And so the more the prospect knows about you, the more they trust you, and the shorter the sales cycle is, the easier it's going to be to close them, right? And so, like, if you do have case studies and stuff, this is going to be good for you. And again, if you want to know how to actually, the technical of setting this up, then go to my video called Calendly and Booking Process or something along those lines. This is the process, right? So when the call's booked, send them an intro video to you and your solution by email. So if you're going to book on Calendly, you can set up an automation to where it does it perfectly. I will show you how to do it in that video, so go watch it. I'll link it if I remember. Then all that email needs to do is your story video, so a bit of backstory, what you do, who you are, what your solution is, etc. Build a bit of rapport, build a bit of trust. The before and after state of your customers' videos, so like, for example, a before and after state of your model. This is Eileen. I don't know why I came up with the name Eileen. It's just the first thing that comes to mind. This is Eileen. She went from $200 a month stuck with the same issues that this girl stuck with, traffic, for example, to within 90 days of working with us, now she's making 50 grand a month and has bought her dream house and is living her life wherever, right? And then the case study video where you actually break it down. So as you can see, we're in the account, boom, boom, boom. She was making, like I said, $200 a year. We did this. And then the second month we did 10K. Then the third month we did 30K, and then blah, 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 right? And so if you follow this process, it equals dollars in the bank account, right? So that is the best outreach video you were ever going to need to watch. And yeah, that's pretty much fucking it. Like, that's the most in-depth outreach breakdown I could give anyone. But again, the key is going to be profile optimization, right? So to recap, the 4-step conversational flow, aka 3-step conversational flow. You need to know first, before any of it, you need to know the inefficiencies of the market segment that you're going after is dealing with. But the 4 steps are how to create social context and familiarity, how to bring out inefficiencies in a conversation, educating to create curiosity and create an authority and trust, and offering a value call. Once all that's done, you've booked a call, or once all that's done, remember, follow-up game, follow-up. Sometimes it takes 7 to 12 times to book a call, 7 to 12 times to follow-up, right? Some simple follow-ups, if they've really started to ignore you, the first 3 follow-ups you do, the 30 minutes, 24 hours, 48 hours, that's all going to be related to the call. Did you manage to find the time? Is there anything I can do to help you find the time? Maybe then you send a funny GIF, right? And that's what you can do for the first 48 hours. After that, you want to start to go back to create context and familiarity, or ask curiosity-based questions. So for example, even though, let's just say they're from the UK, even though they're from the UK, for example, reach out and say, hey, Eileen, you're from the UK, right? Question mark. That's a curiosity-based question. That's going to drive her to reply, right? Because she's like, why is he asking you why I'm from the UK? Like, That's interesting, let me reply. And then she'll reply, then you're back in comms, and then you go from there, right? Boom. And then again, you just go, if you don't, go back to finding an inefficiency, educate them around the new inefficiency, and then again, offer the call again, right? And then pretty much what you're going to be doing, that call is, you could, if you're really good at sales, then you can close them on that call. If you're not so good at sales, you do a 2-call close, right? So this is just the value call. Remember, we're not selling the service. We're simply just selling this value call. Our entire outreach framework is based around selling this one value call. On that call, you're going to help her solve her problems, right? Maybe you help her craft a little roadmap or whatever, right? But you're not exactly going to tell her like how to do it in depth, right? And so what you do then is on the call, you say something along the lines of, at the end of the call, you ask some questions to get an agreement, like, oh yeah, is this, have you found this helpful, blah, blah, blah. Is there any other like sort of questions you have around it? Then you can be like, right, what I can do is like, I can actually help you implement this if you want. So I'll tell you what we can do. I've got to jump because I've got another call with a client in the next 5 minutes, but I'll send you my calendar now. So book in, we'll pencil in a longer format second call. And I'll show you how I can actually help you implement this together. That way you don't have to go and figure it all out yourself and go through the work and time and effort. We can actually help you do it if it makes sense and if it's a good fit. We're not going to try to sell on anything. If you think it's going to actually make sense for you to want to work with us to implement this process, plus all these other things that you're having issues with, we can help you take care of all of that. So let's just pencil in a second longer format call, use my calendar, and you get them to book on that first call, right? They need to book in. So just book in now, and then let me know the time you got, boom, boom, boom. Once they've booked, end the call. Nice meeting you, look forward to our call in the next 2 days or 1 day. You don't want to let them book over 2 days. If the first call is on Monday, then they need to book in that second call for Tuesday or Wednesday. And you're just getting off the call pretty much explaining that, you're going to go and get, like, you're going to go and, you're busy, you need to jump off, and then you go away, and then you pretty much just sell them on the second call, and the second call is where you sell them, right? And so like on that first call as well, you want to ask more questions, because once they're on the call, that's when you want to dig deeper into like their inefficiencies, and you want to like really start to figure out like where they're at so you can actually solve their problems. That's the point, right? And by the way, if you don't understand how to solve their problems and you're just doing this for pure manipulation, then you're a shit agency. Like, you need to actually know how to solve these problems and almost be able to guarantee results. Otherwise, you're just signing models and wasting their time and wasting your time. So you need to get educated first. And if you're just a brand new agency, the best thing you can do is join my Skool community for $97 a month, because there's literally like $25,000 worth of value in programs. If you thought this video was valuable and I'm giving this away for free, you should see the shit that we're giving away behind a $97 a month paywall. It's fucking insane. Like, literally insane. So make sure you go join that. And the entire reason that I'm giving away that community and the courses inside for $97 a month is because I want to educate you so much to where you can go start making 20 grand a month profit, 30 grand a month profit, 50 grand a month profit, so you can come and join me on my partnership program, which is the only main offer I'm pushing. So I only have 2 offers. That is the $97 a month community, and my goal with that is to get you ramped up to where you're making a good amount of money so you can come and join us on our partnership program, where we actually take a small percentage of equity in your agency and help you scale to 500K a month, right? That's my goal. That's why I'm giving away all this free value. That's why the community is $97 a month. The reason it's $97 a month, that's the cheapest I can make it realistically for the stuff in there. And to show people are committed. I've got a free community as well. The issue is with the free community, you just have a bunch of freeloaders, a bunch of people that don't want to take it seriously. And if you're not willing to invest even $97 into yourself, you're in the wrong industry. You should go and work in Tesco, right? Simple as that. And so like, it's the most amount of value in the entire space for $97 a month. We've got like 170 people in the community, and we've only launched it like 14 days ago. So that's insane. That just shows the value. And it's all grown by organic word of mouth. And so, yeah, we're number 7th on the Skool boards as well. And so, yeah, make sure you join the community, because, again, for $97 a month, it's the most valuable community in the space. And I can hand on heart say that. Go and look what's involved. Go to the About Us page. Just take a look. If you think it's for you, then sweet, see you inside. If you don't think it's for you, no worries. Stay broke, stay poor, makes no difference to me. My life doesn't change either way, but yours could. And so yeah, like my entire point of that community and all this free education I'm giving you is you can come and join me on my partnership program where we can literally work directly with you, like as a fractionalized team to help you scale, right? We're building like a portfolio of OFM agencies, right? We scaled our agency to 500K a month agency revenue, not inflow, agency. And we helped Stephen do the same, and we've helped a couple of other agencies now scale to 100K plus per month in agency revenue. And so that's our goal. That's what we're doing. We're taking on a couple of people every single month to help scale that fit the criteria for our partnership program. So that's my result. But until you get it, until you're able to join us on the partnership program, keep getting the free value and try and figure out a way to get $97. Be resourceful, right? Instead of relying on resources. But yeah, if you want whatever videos you want me to see make next, just drop a comment below. I'll make those videos. But everything you possibly need in the Skool community. So yeah, other than that, see you at the top. Peace.